sometimes go on the elliptical, sometimes run, sometimes strength train, especially when you're an athlete. We are very goal-driven creatures. But then I kept saying to myself, I need a goal, right? There's that clarity there that you don't realize is there until you don't have it.
You are listening to the KML Movement Podcast. Connect with me on Instagram at Kelsey Lensman. Hope you enjoyed today's episode and don't forget to share with a friend.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the KML Movement Podcast. My name is Kelsey Lensman, and today this episode is for all of the athletes, ex-athletes, previous athletes that are out there thinking, okay, I'm done with my sport, now what? I'm done with having practices all the time, now what? I'm done going here, having somebody tell me what to do training or how I should fuel my body. Now I'm in the real world, Kels. I'm outside of just going and doing my day in and day out without me really having to think about it. Now, what do I do? And guys, this is one of the main reasons I started my company, KML Movement. There's many reasons, but this is one because in my journey, the reason I even started my journey is high school. I was a big athlete. I played basketball, volleyball. Basically, my entire high school career was revolved around when was practice, what game were we working towards, who did we really focus on trying to compete and beat, right? Summertime, when did I have camps? When did I have to go to this state for a tournament? What AAU practice did I have to get to? Like my entire life revolved around sports, revolved around being an athlete. And it wasn't until later that I realized I had such a deep identity as being an athlete. And I'll talk about that later. But I was in high school, right? I basically played sports day in and day out a lot. I was never forced to do it. My parents never made me do it, but I wanted to. We luckily and were blessed to have a really good team my senior year, so we were on mission. Like we were going to states. We wanted to be the state champion. We ended up falling one short, but we were very on mission, right? And whenever you feel yourself or a team of individuals on mission, you will do anything for them. Right? You are focused, you know what you're doing, you know what you're going after, and there's clarity. There's clarity in that mission, right? And then come after that season, I decided I didn't want to play in college. I had different opportunities, but I didn't want to play because I'm like, you know what? I want to have my 4 years of college, not just be revolved around sports 24/7, or so I thought. And so come senior year or senior sports ending, I was like, okay, how do I work out normally? I was excited for this progression, but a lot of it was, okay, now what do I do? Thank God I had a coach, his name's Coach V, that was our strength coach in high school, and he really brought us under his wing to get us girls and us women in the weight room. And this is a long story short. I remember him getting us strength training and I was addicted to it, but I always had this reservation of, ooh, well, I don't want to get too bulky, right? So I was going back and forth on knowing what to do, and I struggled a little bit there, but I still had college to go after, right? I still had something to look forward to. And then I got to college, ended up getting randomly recruited for the OSU rowing team and their novice team. So I rowed for Ohio State my freshman year on their novice team. And once again, what I thought was going to happen didn't happen because I ended up going to practice 6 days a week. My life revolved around sports again. I had my girls, I had my team. We were once again on mission again. And I knew what I had to do. Somebody told me to do it and I did it, right? And then I got to this crossroads my freshman year. And after my freshman year, I was on the sports medicine path to become an athletic trainer. And they basically said, Kels, you have a decision to make. Either you continue down the path as a student athlete, or you continue down the path as sports medicine because you have a lot of clinicals that you need to do. You have a lot of things that you can't do both. You can only choose one. So I thought about it for a moment. I'm like, okay, I need to choose the route that I'm going to go basically for my whole life, right? I needed to choose my career. And so then came that decision. It was the end of my freshman year. I thought in that moment, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I am so excited to not have to go to practice anymore. I am so excited to not have somebody tell me what I had to do when I didn't want to do it. I was so excited to live the quote unquote normal life. And as I got into that summer, that excitement was still there. And then came my sophomore year, and many of you may have experienced this out of high school sports or out of collegiate sports after playing all 4 years. But come my sophomore year, I didn't really even know who I was anymore. I didn't know my own mission. I didn't know what I should do in the gym. I didn't know how I should fuel my body. And I didn't know a lot about myself. Not that you should at that young of an age, but I realized when I didn't have practice and I didn't have the focus of, hey, go win this game, or we're working towards this game, I actually felt incredibly lost. I felt incredibly, okay, what do I do now? Right? And I know many of you out there have been or are athletes right now. And when you are in that athletic environment, you have that clarity on what you're working towards, right? You have that clarity on when you need to be at certain places. You have that clarity on basically who are your girls, who is your crew, that you guys are all on mission to go and compete and win, right? There's that clarity there that you don't realize is there until you don't have it. And so I got to my sophomore year and I just threw myself in clinicals. This might look similar to you guys throwing yourself in the workplace, right? And it was okay for a few months. And then I remember getting into it and I woke up, I walked into my bathroom and I thought, how is this my life? Like, I have this drive and motivation, but I also feel so unmotivated at the same time. I have this, I want to pursue these things, but then I also have this, how in the heck do I get there, right? And it was this weird gray area that was so confusing for me. I'm a very by nature competitive person. I'm a very by nature and also environmentally, because of how I grew up, I want to go out and challenge myself. I want to see myself grow. Because remember back to sports, and this might be for you, right? When you are seeing yourself grow, maybe you're seeing a skill in your sport get better, you are seeing yourself improve at some way, that gets addicting. Like it gets this pursuit of growth, which I think is a beautiful thing. But when you feel yourself not growing or you feel yourself not very challenged in those areas, it can also feel very suffocating, but because you think, okay, now what do I do? Right? And it's a very weird time. You go from your life revolving around sports, revolving around your team, revolving around what you're working towards, to then be like, okay, now what? So this is when I initially said, okay, I don't really know what to do. I would try to go in the gym, fumble around a few things. But once again, I had this like deep fire of, I need a goal. I need a goal. And I remember saying this for months. I need a goal. I would go in the gym, work out a little bit, sometimes go on the elliptical, sometimes run, sometimes strength train. I would build up the courage to go strength train. But then I kept saying to myself, I need a goal, right? We are very goal-driven creatures, especially when you're an athlete. Your entire life, you have that clear goal. Versus now, when I didn't have that clear goal, I then thought, okay, what am I working towards, right? And then when I'm not clear about what I'm working towards, then I get frustrated, and then I'm like, okay, well, screw it, right? We don't really consciously decide this, but subconsciously, unconsciously, our brain's like, Kelsey, you're not even clear. Like, why even go put in the work? Why put in the effort when you don't even know where you're going or why you're doing what you're doing? And I might be saying these things and you're like, Kelsey, you're literally describing my life right now. You might be 5, 10, 15 years removed from sport, but you have not found that fire, you haven't found that groove of just feeling that on purpose driven for your own physical body. And I know what you know that I'm talking about because you remember back to your high school collegiate career when you just had this fire, you just had this passion, you had this clarity and this excitement of, I'm going to go out Saturday and I'm going to completely kick some butt in this game. And now that you quote unquote got to the real world, it's like, well, I guess I'm just going to get a job. I guess I'm going to have a family. And then you get yourself thrown into the, okay, this is how I'm going to live my life. Your whole next 60 years are planned out. And that honestly also scares you at the same time. As much as you love stability, it also scares you that it is that planned out and that there's no excitement, that there's no fire in underneath your butt, and that there's no clarity on what you're going after. And so then as I progressed onto it, I remember getting back into the gym. I remember kind of getting clear on it and seeing myself improve strength training wise. And like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like I see myself getting stronger. Literally, I could see what weights I used to use and what weights I use now. And I saw myself getting better. And that internally gave me that little fire of being competitive, saying, heck yeah, I can do those 30 pounds, and then crushing those 30 pounds. And it got me that fire back. And then once again, I was excited, but then I had a lack of clarity towards a goal, right? I had a lack of clarity on what I was going after. People would say things in my ear like, oh, Kelsey, you should compete in this, or you should compete in this. I remember I talked to my dad and we started training for a half marathon. And then I realized I hated running. And I'm like, oh man, this sucks, right? It's what a lot of people do. They're an athlete. So like, okay, let me just go run a half marathon. Let me go run a 5K. And yeah, it's cool to work towards. But also at the same time, if you're anything like me, running can be your jam. Running is not my jam at all. So I'm like, all right, yes, I can do it. But it still didn't light that fire for me. And so eventually I found my path. I got a goal. I realized you don't have to do this. I do not advocate for it, but my clarity was competing on a bodybuilding stage and just having that goal, having that sense of I'm working towards this thing, this date. It brought me back to those feelings of being an athlete. And then as I got to the stage there, then I started competing in powerlifting. I competed in so many different events. And I felt more like an athlete then, and I feel more like an athlete now than I ever have in my entire life. And if you would have told me that 4 years ago when I was in that gray area, that dark area of, okay, who am I now? I would have not believed you, right? But there's a few things that I really advocate, a few non-negotiables that I really advocate for any ex-athlete. And in my opinion, you're always going to be an athlete. But any ex-athlete, any person that played sports, high school, collegiate, or was just very competitive, these are the 3 to 4 big pieces of it, okay? Number 1, you need a solid strength training program. You need to see yourself getting not just physically stronger, but seeing a physical challenge and using your body and showing it what it's truly capable of. You need a solid strength training program. In my opinion, you need to work with a coach for a period of time in nutrition, right? Because previously you didn't have to work hard for maybe an athletic body, right? And a lot of ex-athletes have this fear of, oh my gosh, I stopped my sport. Not only how do I feel my body, but how do I not lose my body? Hint, you're not losing it, right? But working with a coach is going to guide you in a very healthy way. Same with training program. I initially hired a coach and it felt exactly like I was an athlete again. I was accountable to someone. Someone gave me that clarity that I didn't know that I had. So I highly advocate, especially if you're a competitive athlete or you were a competitive athlete, hire a coach to at least get you on the right path initially. Okay? Solid strength training program. Okay? Work with a coach for a period of time on both, but especially nutrition. 2 more things. Grow your mind. You are a very growth-oriented person. not everybody, but especially if you were a competitive athlete, right? You failed probably many times. You've seen yourself get set back probably many times. You've lost many games. And you have this inner drive, this next notch that wants to see all that you're capable of becoming, right? You wanted to tap into your full capability being an athlete. And so you have this inner fire of, okay, what all can I accomplish? Not just from a career world, even though that's important to you, but also from a human world, a human perspective. Can I tap into my full capability, right? And so I highly recommend growing your mind, being around people that are going to help and challenge you to grow. Because you have two paths right now. You either go down the path of majority of everybody else that gets very, well, I guess I'll just settle for this job. I guess I'll just settle for having a family come 26. I guess I'll be in my little suburb house and live there and die there, and the whole story is laid out, which none of those are bad things, right? But many people fall into that trap because we feel like we have to do it in that specific order. So I'm going to challenge you on growing and being around people that challenge you. Be around people that want to see you not only do well, but they're not going to allow you to settle for just that half version of yourself. Because it's easy to go down the path of drinking 4 days a week because you finally have this freedom, versus being, yes, drinking's not bad, but being around the people that are going to challenge you on getting a hard training session Saturday morning. That's going to challenge you on, hey, Kels, you have so much more left in the tank. Why are you settling for just what you are right now? Right? And then last but not least, this is my opinion, you need a goal. Not just a weight goal to lose weight, not just a body goal of dropping 7 inches. You need a challenge. You need a goal. You need an event that you're working towards. You know your worth doesn't just come how you perform. And if you don't know that, your worth is so much more than just how you perform on a stage, on an event, at a competition. But you are inherently a very driven creature. We are inherently, as humans, very driven, growth-oriented humans, right? Creatures. And so as you have that goal you're working towards, you're going to realize you're more of an athlete today than you might have ever been. And that you have this special capability. You have this special gift that is driven to then go after that thing. That is driven to see all that you're capable of being. Right? And so instead of suppressing that gift and saying, oh man, I wish I could just do what everybody else does. Utilize that gift. It is so special. Utilize that gift to inspire others to do the thing. This is why we created Empower Her events. Yes, for the reason of we wanted women to work towards not just a lower number on the scale and show them their true strength, but many people, not even ex-athletes, if you can show yourself in an environment even what your capability is, or if you can surprise yourself on what your capability is, for us, that's a lot of strength things. Women come in there nervous as hell, never stepping on a platform before. Women that have never competed, ages 15 to 65. And as they step on that platform and not only do it, but as they hit a 200-pound deadlift or a 135-pound deadlift, they're like, Kelsey, I would have never thought I was even capable of doing that. And so then what happens? They surprise themselves. They get so excited about that surprise, and it opens up their brain of, if I can do that, what else am I capable of? Not just in their physical body, but that might be in their career. That might be in their family, right? And so especially if you're an ex-athlete, especially if you've played sports in high school and college, you having that thing you're working towards, you having that goal that you're working towards and that you're going after, is going to give you that clarity, yes, in your physical body, but is going to give you this mental drive that you know you have in you deeply. And you just need that clarity towards that goal that you're working towards. And once again, you have a gift. Your body is so capable. Maybe you have athletic ability that not everybody has. Maybe you were that person that, yeah, you're athletic, but maybe you weren't the superstar. I don't care. You still have physical capability. If you're walking on 2 feet, even if you're not walking on 2 feet, you still have physical capability if you have breath in your lungs. And so especially for my previous athletes here, those 3 to 4 non-negotiables, in my opinion, it is a non-negotiable. Because the path I see so many ex-athletes take is they have this drive. They feel lost because their whole identity was being an athlete. They feel, okay, well, because that season of my life is done, I guess I just need to settle and do what everybody else is doing. I guess I just need to suppress such a big part of me. And yes, you're more than an athlete, but you identify with that drive. You identify with that internal motivation, that internal fire. You identify with that. You know it's still there, even if you haven't done anything to ignite that fire in a long time. You know that that's there. You know that you have a sense of purpose, a sense of goal-focused and goal-driven personality. You know that you have that. So instead of trying to get rid of it, instead of internally battling yourself like I battled myself for years of, Kels, just why are you struggling so hard? Just go and do what everybody else is doing. Why do you need to be so goal focused? And then another part of me also feeling such a big lack of motivation because I didn't even know what was ahead. I was so driven and motivated on one side, but then I was also so unmotivated, that's not even a word, but undriven, because I didn't even know what to do. And where there's a lack of clarity, there's a lack of purpose, and there's a lack of execution, right? So a few of these non-negotiables, and I just worked with a client. She was a collegiate basketball player, one of the biggest basketball players where I grew up in, right? She said for so long, Kels, she knew that she had this capability, but she felt so frustrated. She felt so frustrated that she gained weight, that she didn't know what to do for her body, that the things that she was doing training kind of worked, but she was kind of half-assing it at the same time. She's like, I don't really know what to do for my body, and she felt lost. That's one of the biggest things identity-wise. You feel lost. And so what'd she do? She ended up signing on with us. I said, I'm going to get you and I'm going to have you have this, I'm going to challenge you to have this internal fire. And you're not going to have it from the beginning. That's okay. But over time, what you're going to see is you're going to develop this fire and you're going to feel more like an athlete today than you ever did. And she's like, all right, Kels, we'll see. And so we challenged her. We dialed in her nutrition. We dialed in her training. I challenged her mentally. And then what happened as a result? She said she literally submitted a video to me talking about her journey. And she says she feels this fire that she never felt in her entire life. And that she's not giving up any time soon. And that's the feeling that I know every single one of you listening can get to. Every single one of you that are struggling in your journey. Or maybe you're not struggling, but you're not fully clear. I know that you can get there. I know that it takes clarity. I know that it takes more than just go to the gym and do 20 minutes on the elliptical. I know it because I've been you. And you're going to realize you're more than an athlete. But what you do and the ripple effect that you're going to have on other people's life is going to be incredible. And that you first need to take care of you for you to even be able to take care of anybody else in your life. And until you acknowledge that you have a gift, You have an identity. You have this thing about you that is so unique. And as you ended your sports, as you ended that last game, that last practice, that part of you didn't die. That part of you didn't end there. That part of you is waiting to be awakened again. That part of you is waiting for you to give it an opportunity to come out again. And you might be unsure right now. You might have no idea where to go. But I'll tell you, if this is you, my inbox is open. You can easily message me and talk to me about your story. Talk to me about where you're at. Because like I said, I've been you, right? I literally started my company, KML Movement, because it started with me and my journey, right? It started with me feeling so lost and having to regain myself again and actually create someone even more capable than she ever thought that she was capable of. And so you might be in a weird time right now. You might be in this gray area. And I want you to know that yes, you are an athlete. Yes, you've always been an athlete. And yes, you're always going to be an athlete. And that is a gift. And that is a gift that as you pursue that for what season you're in right now, you are going to be amazed at where that's going to lead you. And so guys, I hope hearing this for that one person that might be struggling right now, or that one person that maybe has that clarity. Maybe you struggled with it before, but now you have that clarity. This is for you, and this is your little sign to tell you that it's time. It is time for you to hone in on your physical body. Not just to look a certain way, not just to have a six-pack in the mirror, but because your physical body, your capability, your sense of goal and driven focus is something so unique. And that's the doorway to all of your other capabilities. By the time I was able to really get my physical body in shape, it made me realize how many other capabilities I had internally that I never thought that I had. And so use that superpower of yours, use that athlete mentality of yours to your advantage. Okay? And so everybody, as we bring it back full circle, I appreciate you giving me your time. Like I always say, your time is the most special thing that, in my opinion, you can give me, right? And I hope that these 20, 30 minutes really allowed you to think a little bit, challenged you to not just settle, and at the end of the day, allowed you to realize that you're not alone in that journey. You're not alone in that stuckness that you might be feeling. Or if you're clear, keep on going after it. And guys, like I said, if you're that person that you might be feeling that way, message me at Kelsey Lensman on Instagram. At KML Movement on Instagram is our company here, where we help a lot of women not just regain that physical body, but regain their new sense of identity, right? And as you have a new sense of identity, you're going to be amazed where that leads you. All right. So guys, hope you guys have an awesome rest of your week. Remember, 3 to 4 non-negotiables for my ex-athletes out there. Solid training program, number 1. Number 2, work with a coach for a period of time on nutrition. It will help you tenfold. Number 3, grow your mind, be around the right people. And number 4, bonus, find a competition. Find an event that you are ready to go crush so you can have that sense of purpose-driven focus that you know was within you. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day and keep kicking some butt.